Hi, I would like to show you how to do your observations and interventions in a very powerful way, at work and at home. Thank you for joining me. Daily activities can become almost automatic. Familiar faces, routine actions, our surroundings become familiar.
This familiarity can cause us to lose sight of the hazards involved in our daily activities. The routine state of mind can also get in the way of us recognizing the positive things that we do.
This is why our Work Smart program has developed the SLB Observer program to help us reinforce the positive and change unsafe behaviours. The SLB Observer is more than just keeping our eyes open. It's about helping others to follow procedures and taking action, becoming a positive influence wherever you are for the good of your fellow co-workers and your family. Let me show you how a simple technique can make a huge difference. First step, observe. Simply stop and observe someone while doing an activity and ask yourself 3 questions. What is the main activity being performed? What safe behaviours can I detect? And finally, what are the main risks of this activity? Second step, plan. Then think a moment. What action will reinforce the safe behaviour or change the at-risk behaviour? For example,
Safe distance. Secure it while on ground. Correct hand signals. Holding on to handrails. Obey the safety signs.
if you don't observe any unsafe behaviour, then a positive intervention is still valid. After you've identified the safe and at-risk actions, it's time to intervene. Third step, greet. Extend a respectful greeting and ask your friend to stop and give you a few minutes to talk. Always start with something positive. Use the safe behaviours you identified before to reinforce the correct behaviour. Fourth step, ask and listen. If you have detected an unsafe behaviour, ask questions and listen. Do not tell your co-worker the unsafe act that you detected. Instead, use open questions, such as, is there any deviation to our procedures? Or, what can go wrong in your activity? Or simply, what are the main risks in this task? Then listen carefully to the answers. This way you'll allow them to discover, in their own words, what they may not have noticed before. Remember, it is more effective to ask than to tell, letting the worker discover for themselves the unsafe behaviour. Be patient. Your questions will lead to the safe action. Fifth step, obtain. Your first goal is to encourage your co-worker to talk about the action that will lead to a safer behaviour. When you obtain the action you're looking for, your intervention is on its way to being successful. When you achieve this, repeat the action, reinforcing the positive behaviour so that your co-worker never forgets it. And finally, the sixth step, commit. Get the commitment from your co-worker on how to conduct this activity from now on. Close with a firm commitment to further reinforce the safe behaviour. So, in just 6 steps, you can bring about a positive change in your workplace safety culture. Observe, plan, greet, ask questions and listen, obtain and commit. The idea is simple. I look after you, you look after me. So now that you see these 6 simple steps, it's time to see them applied in real situations. Watch how these conversations play out in the workplace. The important first step is observing, making sure you take in the full scope of the activity and any possible impact beyond what is obvious. Think for a moment. What is the goal of this intervention? As you approach, a smile sets a friendly tone.
Hi friend, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
What are you working on?
I'm trying to remove this mineral from this tool. You know, we have to complete the maintenance to get it back out to the field tomorrow.
I noticed you were straining and not using your correct line of strength. Did you notice that?
Yeah, you're right, I know, I was, but I can get more leverage that way.
Your co-worker has acknowledged that he was straining and not using the correct SLB injury prevention program technique, but had a reason for it. What could have made this a better observation?
I was doing an observation and I noticed you were straining and not using your correct line of strength. Were you aware of that?
I know, I was, but I can get more leverage that way.
Using the correct line of strength has been proven to save us from back injuries. From now on, every time you try to remove a mandrel, you will set your posture correctly and use your line of strength. You also might want to use a larger chain wrench so that you don't have to strain so much.
Okay, I'll try to remember to do it that way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, your co-worker has acknowledged that he was not using the correct line of strength and why he chose to do that. This was followed by the observer giving instructions on how to do the task in the future. What could have made this a better observation and intervention?
I'll try to remember to do it that way.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Despite observing and learning how to correct an unsafe behaviour, a serious incident still occurred. Earlier on, we were taught the importance of a good observation to make sure that you take in the full scope of the activity and any possible impact beyond what is obvious. What improvements could have made this a better observation and intervention? Now, let's see the correct approach, using the 6 steps, making sure we consider the full scope and any possible impact beyond what is obvious. It is the same situation, but this time you'll notice the observer's approach gets his co-worker more involved.
Hi there, I'm John. Can I ask your name?
Hi, John. My name is Jose.
How are things around here? What are you busy working on?
Well, I'm trying to remove this mandrel from this tool. We have to complete the maintenance to get it back out to the field tomorrow.
Okay, Jose. First of all, I'd like to give you a compliment.
Ah, and what's that?
Well, I can see that you're using all your personal protective equipment in the perfect way.
Thanks. I try to pay attention to that.
I was also observing your injury prevention techniques. I see you using the smart grip, holding the wrench in the correct way.
Yes.
Very good. We like to encourage each other to do that. And I wanted to mention something else, looking more deeply into these techniques. Is there any other safety technique that applies to this activity?
Well, I think I'm doing things well. I think I'm doing all right.
I want you to think very carefully about how you are trying to remove the mandrel.
Well, I was using the smart grip.
Yes, that's correct. But think about any other injury prevention techniques that you've been trained in.
So maybe I was training too much and not using the correct line of strength.
Exactly. Your body posture was not set up for your correct line of strength.
So in future, I will orientate myself in the direction of the force.
That's right. That's the action that helps prevent back injury. Stand with your legs apart and orientate your body in the direction of the force. You should not need to strain yourself.
Yes, I'll keep that in mind.
Is it normal that the mandrel doesn't turn easily?
No, normally it unscrewed very easily. I have never had problem with the size of wrench.
Okay, did you check the manual to see what the process should be?
No, I haven't. Normally my supervisor, he helps me on these types of tools. But today he's off because he's sick. So I have to do it by myself. It's urgent.
Okay, well let's go check out the manual and see what it says about the problem. It says here that the unit must be depressurized before removing the mandrel. Have you removed the fill plugs and depressurized?
Let me check. Oh no, look here. You can see the plugs are still in place. I guess that means maybe it's still under pressure.
Okay, I think it's time we stop the job and ask someone with the right knowledge before going any further with the maintenance. I think it helps to remember by making a commitment. And the commitment is, each time you use the wrench, use it with all the right techniques. But in particular, which one?
Using the correct line of strength and using the other injury prevention techniques.
Yes, but also, you need to commit to only carrying out tasks that you are fully trained in, and to make use of the manual to check the process. This could have resulted in a serious accident. So next time someone asks you to work on a tool that you're not fully trained in, you will?
I will talk to someone with the correct knowledge and correctly make use of the procedure and manuals.
Jose, thank you very much.
Yes, it is that simple. It's really doing what comes naturally with a friend, looking out for them. Just remember to follow the 6 steps. The key is observing the unsafe act before intervening and encouraging conversation until your co-worker sees the benefit of changing their behaviour. Remember, it's always valid to make a positive intervention, further reinforcing correct behaviours. Now, let's go and practice.